suddenly. That is exactly how it's going to happen. There won't be a long warning. There won't be months of preparation. Something is about to shift in your job or in whatever is coming to replace it. And when you look back, you'll finally understand why every closed door was actually protection, not rejection. You ended up here today because this message was prepared specifically for those who are at their breaking point in the professional waiting room. And before we're done, you're going to receive a 3-step protocol to activate right now what has been stuck in your professional life. Stay with me until the end. Before I finish, I'm going to give you this complete protocol so you can do it today, right now, exactly where you are. It's not just work tiredness. It's something different. That space between total burnout and the nagging feeling that you were born for more than this, and time is slipping away. It's waking up in the morning and feeling the weight before you even roll out of bed. Not a physical weight. It's that tightness in your chest at 6 a.m. before the alarm even goes off, when your body already knows what the day is going to bring and it starts to resist. It's sitting in a meeting, hearing someone talk about a project you could lead in your sleep and staying quiet. Not because you lack the skill, but because of a kind of invisibility you don't know how to break. It's checking your bank app at the end of the month and doing the same mental math you always do. Not enough left over, too much still owed, and all that effort you put in doesn't show up anywhere in the balance. It's the Sunday scaries. That specific feeling, not quite sadness, not quite anger, a heavy, lukewarm weight that settles in when you realize tomorrow it all starts all over again. It's not a lack of gratitude. You aren't ungrateful for what you have. It's your spirit recognizing that the place where you are is not the place where you are supposed to be. And even so, you kept going. You didn't stop praying. You didn't stop believing. You're here, in this moment, still standing. And that is no small feat. Hit the like button right now. That like is your public amen. Heaven records what you confess in the open. Here is what this message is going to do for you. First, you're going to understand the spiritual truth behind what you're feeling at work, and it's the exact opposite of how your mind has been interpreting it. What feels like abandonment is actually positioning. What looks like a delay is actually a shield. Second, you're going to leave here with a 3-step protocol you can execute today. Not when you change jobs, not when the economy gets better. Today, exactly where you are. Third, you'll have a declaration in your hands that will resonate tomorrow morning when the weight of the day tries to settle in before you even get out of bed. Don't break the connection before the end. What comes in the final minutes of this message is what will seal what started here. I know every morning you got up when you didn't want to. I saw every time you sat in the wrong chair and just swallowed your pride. That time wasn't wasted. It was my investment in you. Before we go further, close your eyes for a second. Take a deep breath, because what I'm about to show you won't work if your attention is divided. There are signs. Signs that what you're living through isn't your destination. It's just traffic, and you're going to recognize every single one of them. The first sign is invisible competence. You know how to do what you do. You do it well, but there's a lid over you. Promotions pass you by. Recognition goes to people who do half the work. You stay in the same spot year after year, not because of a lack of ability, but because of a barrier that has no name. You used to call it bad luck. You thought you didn't have the right connections, or you were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But what's really happening is this. I am not letting the wrong man see you, so that the right man can find you. Heaven protects the calling from premature recognition. What hasn't been seen yet was hidden for protection, not because you were forgotten. The second sign is the dream that won't die. There's something you want to do, a business, a different field, a skill you've never developed, and the thought just won't go away. It pops up in traffic, in the shower, right before you hit the pillow. You've tried to ignore it. It keeps coming back. You used to call it a daydream. a total escape from reality. Something meant for other people. But what's really happening is that human desires die when things get uncomfortable. Divine callings survive every no. What won't die inside of you wasn't put there by you. It was placed there by the one who knows exactly where you're going to land. The third sign is selective exhaustion. You aren't tired of working. You're tired of working on this. You imagine a different role, a different environment, a different purpose, and the fatigue vanishes before you even start. That's not laziness. That's your spirit rejecting the wrong place. You used to call it weakness. You thought you were just being ungrateful. You thought it was a you problem. But what's really happening is your body is saying what your mind is still afraid to admit. Selective exhaustion is spiritual discernment, not a character flaw. The fourth sign is the almost moment. At some point recently, weeks ago, months ago, an opportunity got close. An interview that went great but didn't close. A conversation that seemed to open a door. A referral that went nowhere. And you just stood there in the almost, wondering why. You used to call it failure. Bad luck. A sign that it wasn't meant for you. But what was really happening was that you were about to walk through the wrong door at the right time. The almost that came from me isn't a failure. It's calibration. I adjusted your path without explaining why, because the explanation comes after the arrival, not before. The fifth sign is the feeling of being out of place. There is a constant disconnect between you and your workplace. It's not even necessarily drama or conflict. It's just the feeling that you're speaking a language the people around you don't understand. That your values, your ethics, and your vision just don't fit. You used to call it being arrogant, being hard to work with, not knowing how to fit in. But what's really happening is simple. Fish don't belong on dry land, no matter how long they stay there. You feel out of place because you are out of place. And that won't change until you are moved into the water you were made for. Type free in the comments if this word reached you. Now let me show you that you aren't the first person to go through this. Joseph was in the pit before he was in the palace. He was in prison before he was in power. Between the dream and the fulfillment of the dream, he served where he didn't want to, waited for what wouldn't come, and endured what he didn't deserve. But there's a detail in the text that most people skip over. In every wrong place, in Potiphar's house, in the prison, the text doesn't say God took him out immediately. It says God was with Joseph, present, right there, in the wrong place. Joseph's moment didn't arrive when he was ready by human standards. It arrived when Pharaoh needed an interpreter, and no one in the entire nation had what Joseph had. What looked like a prison was actually the last room before the throne. Think about a radio transmitter working on the wrong frequency. The signal is there. The power is there. The message is there. But nobody is tuning in because the frequency doesn't match the right receiver. It's not a failure of the transmitter. It's a frequency mismatch. When the frequency is adjusted, even by a millimeter, the signal is picked up by thousands at the same time. What felt like silence was just a signal, waiting for the right receiver. You aren't broken. You're just on the wrong frequency for your current environment. When the right receiver appears, and it won't take effort to be heard. It will be instantaneous. Type Joseph in the comments if you see yourself in his story, or frequency if that radio metaphor clicked for you. Let me stop for one full minute. You came to this video with the weight of a work situation that consumes more than it should. Maybe years of this. Maybe months that feel like years. But here are the facts. You are still standing. You are still believing. You haven't stopped praying, even when the prayer seemed to echo in an empty room. And you chose to open this message today, not by accident. Every sign you recognized here isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you are at the end of a cycle, not the middle of one. The end of a cycle looks like this. accumulated exhaustion, almosts that don't close, feeling out of place. All of that together isn't a sign of abandonment. It's a sign that the current cycle is closing out. And here is who you are in the middle of all this. I didn't forget you in the middle of the wait. Every day you showed up when you didn't want to, every meeting you endured, every bill you paid by the skin of your teeth, I was calculating. I don't waste anything that belongs to me. And you are mine. What comes next isn't just compensation. It's the consequence of what I planted in you before you even knew what it was. The first identity you carry is the bearer of the intact calling. You are made with a specific capacity that your current environment doesn't have the structure to recognize. It's not a competency problem. It's a context problem. Every no you received didn't erase the calling. It proved that it doesn't belong to human judgment. No human being can confirm or invalidate what was placed in you before you were even born. What this identity authorizes, when you are placed in the right environment, the calling will operate without you needing to explain yourself or sell yourself. Your competence will be obvious to those with eyes to see and invisible to those without. That's not a problem. That's spiritual natural selection. The second identity is the waiting room survivor. You were placed in a wait that most people quit. Not for lack of faith, but from the sheer exhaustion of waiting itself. But you stayed. You prayed. You didn't turn completely bitter. You're still here, still sensitive enough to receive a message like this. What this identity authorizes, your story of waiting, will be the resource that sustains others who are where you used to be. Once you get out of here, you can't help people on the edge if you've never been on the edge yourself. The wait wasn't punishment. It was preparation. The third identity is the one chosen for the next level. It is no coincidence that the enemies at your job are bigger than the situation seems to deserve. The level of the attack corresponds to the level of what is reserved for you. You were tested in loyalty, in character, in patience, in things that the next level will require of you every single day. What this identity authorizes, what you are going to build, lead, or inhabit in the next cycle, will need everything this cycle produced in you. Nothing was in vain. Nothing was wasted. Every hard thing was a deposit, not a loss. Type in the comments which of these identities you recognize as yours: calling, survivor, or chosen. And subscribe to the channel right now so that the next word reaches you when you're already in the right place. Now I need to tell you about something I found. I didn't create it. I found it. That completes what this message started. Because it's one thing to receive a word. It's another thing to have a structure to sustain what was activated. A word without an anchor dissolves in 48 hours. What I'm about to show you is the anchor. The Miracle Journal. 21 days to unlock withheld blessings. This isn't a standard devotional. It's not a gratitude journal. It's a 21-day protocol built on a discovery that changes everything. Blessings aren't just delayed, they are withheld. There are specific blocks in professional and financial life that common prayer doesn't remove because they haven't been identified, named, and broken in the right order. The protocol works in 3 cycles. Cycle 1, the breaking. The first 7 days identify and name exactly what is blocking you. Not in a generic way, specifically for your situation. Blocks have names. When you name them, you have authority over them. What remains nameless remains without an address for authority to act. Cycle 2, the clearing. The next 7 days do what most people skip. They clear the ground. There's no point in planting in soil still contaminated by the previous cycle. So many people pray for the harvest without preparing the soil, and when the blessing arrives, it has nowhere to land. Cycle 3, the possession. The final 7 days teach you how to step into what has been released. Many people reach the door of the blessing and don't know how to cross the threshold. They turn back because they don't recognize what belongs to them. This cycle fixes that. There are 2 bonuses included. The first is the prayer guide. 15 prayers for specific moments, not generic bless me prayers. One for when work news is taking too long, one for when the almost didn't close, one for Sunday night with that specific weight you know so well, the exact one I described earlier. The second is the Manual of Psalms, 10 Psalms with historical context, meditation, and declarations of faith. So you don't just read the text, you enter the spiritual atmosphere of every word. And the cost? Less than a Starbucks latte and a bagel. Less than an afternoon ice cream. Less than a happy meal on a Saturday. I'm not being figurative. It's literally that. Let me tell you what happened to 3 people who went through this protocol. A 34-year-old woman who had been in the same role for 2 years without a promotion. She started the protocol on a Monday. In the 3rd week, she received an offer she didn't even apply for. It came to her. The exact same block this cycle described today was exactly what was over her. A 41-year-old freelancer who went 8 months without closing a significant contract. On the 19th day of the protocol, he closed 2 in the same week. He said what changed wasn't the strategy. It was the ground. A 27-year-old woman who was about to accept a job offer out of desperation, not choice. She waited the 21 days. The right offer appeared before the deadline was up. She knew it was the right one because it didn't come with an out-of-place feeling. Now think about the cost of not acting. Every week that passes without breaking the block is one more week in the wrong place. It's not just money. It's energy. It's health. It's what you bring home to the people you live with. Every month it accumulates. It builds a narrative that this is just what life is. And that narrative is passed down, without words, to your kids and the people close to you. That's not fear-mongering. It's what happens when cycles aren't closed. And the hesitation you're feeling right now, I'll think about it. I'll see later. Maybe it's not for me. That has a spiritual name. It's called the same block that is withholding everything else. Hesitation to act on the solution is part of the block. It isn't prudence. If it were prudence, it would come with peace. Blocks come with fog. The guarantee is 7 days. Full refund, no questions asked. And you keep the bonuses even if you ask for the refund. The link is in the first pinned comment. Not tomorrow, not after your shower, not after you talk to someone. Now, while what was activated here is still hot, and what comes next is the first practical step, regardless of any decision about the protocol. The Professional Breakthrough Protocol. 3 steps. Do this today, right where you are. Step 1. Name the cycle that is ending, not in your head, out loud or on paper. Write the name of your current work situation as if it's the title of a chapter that is ending, not the title of a chapter that is continuing. This shifts the spiritual position of your faith. You move from inside the cycle to speaking over it. There is a massive difference between saying, I'm stuck here, and saying, this chapter is closing. The first sentence puts you inside the problem. The second puts you above it. Step 2, declare the opening before you see the opening. Out loud, I declare that the professional block over my life has been identified and named. What was withheld is starting to move. I don't need to force it. I need to be available. Say it once. Don't repeat it 10 times out of anxiety. The declaration isn't effective because of volume, but because of positioning. One declaration made with faith is enough. Anxious repetition is just doubt disguised as dedication. Step 3. Take a movement action. Today, before you go to sleep, a sent message, an updated resume, a conversation started, a quick research task. Any movement that puts your body in the direction of what you declared. Faith without works in this specific area is just a nice thought. Heaven doesn't move what stays still by its own choice. Movement, even small, is the sign that you believe what you declared. The sign that it worked isn't euphoria. It's not that hype feeling that fades fast. It's stillness. a kind of internal settling that says, "It is done." That is the spirit recognizing that the movement has begun. Now I need to warn you about what comes next. In the next 72 hours, 3 things will be thrown at you. Not as a possibility, as a certainty. The first is the contrary news. How it arrives. A situation at work will get worse right now. A criticism, a frustrating task, a difficult conversation, as if what you received here was a lie. The specific weapon is the doubt that nothing changes. See? It's still the same. It was just a nice video. The response? What gets worse before it changes is a sign that the block was touched. It's not a contradiction, it's confirmation. When you press on an abscess, what comes out isn't a sign it's getting worse, it's a sign it's being cleaned out. The second is paralyzing comparison. How it arrives, you're going to see someone in your field, an acquaintance, an ex-colleague, someone on Instagram, with the result you want. And the thought will hit, why them and not me? What did I do wrong? The specific weapon is the narrative that you are too far behind to recover. The response? Comparison is a timeline illusion. You don't know what they paid to be where they are, or if what they have is even what you actually want. Every destiny has its own path. Looking to the side is how you lose sight of what's right in front of you. The third is rational postponement. How it arrives. A logical justification to not act now. I'll wait for things to stabilize. Now isn't the right time. I'll start next month. The specific weapon is the rationalization of the block as prudence. The response? The enemy doesn't show up as fear. He shows up as common sense. If the delay is too rational, question the source. Peace comes with the right weight. Fog comes with a block disguised as maturity. And besides those 3 external tactics, there is a 4th movement. More dangerous because it's internal. It's the voice that says you don't deserve what's being activated here. That there's something in you that invalidates the promise. That you know your own mistakes better than any prophetic word can overcome. That voice isn't your conscience. It's the block speaking from the only place it still has access. From the inside. Type "protected" in the comments. The decree has been sealed. Before you leave this video, I need you to do one thing. Sit up straight where you are. You don't have to close your eyes, but be still for a moment. Take a deep breath. Let the air in slowly and out slowly. Now, in silence or in a whisper. Let go of the weight of the workday you've carried until now. Not because it's going to vanish, but because it isn't yours to carry alone. Every deadline hanging over you, every heavy meeting, every unpaid bill, every dream that seems too far away. Leave it on the altar right now. I saw you at 6 a.m. before the alarm with the tightness in your chest. I saw you in the meeting, silent, holding on to what you knew but weren't invited to say. I saw the math at the end of the month, and I saw how much it cost you to keep going anyway. You didn't go through that because I forgot you. You went through that because I know exactly what you are capable of sustaining, and because what's coming needs someone who survived that. What changes in your job doesn't change because you finally did everything right. It changes because the time has come, and the hour was decreed before you even knew there was an hour for you. You are covered. What was spoken here does not return void. You don't leave here the same. What was activated today will work while you sleep, while you're in tomorrow's meeting, while you do what needs to be done. The change doesn't ask your permission to start. It has already begun. Amen. Type "done" in the comments as a declaration that you have received it and you are in position. If you know someone who is at their limit in the professional waiting room, someone who is tired of waiting for a change that seems like it's never coming, share this video with them today. Not tomorrow, not when you remember. Today. Text it to them by name right now. And if they want to go beyond the video, the link is in the first comment. Waiting just the same way it waited for you. The next video is already prepared, and it follows the exact sequence of what started here. It is done. You are not the same person you were when this message began.